Kawira Mwangaza is back to her county to serve the people of Meru. But just what happened? Why did she find herself on the wrong side of the MCAs? Was it politics or was there more to her impeachment? Beta MP Millie Odhiambo speaks on this. Let's follow this live from Spice FM.
She's come before the Senate. She came before the Senate and she's come back before the Senate again. And if you look at, the allegations that were levied against her, a lot of them are not substantive issues that would require an impeachment. Some of them are merely administrative issues that they can sort out at the county level. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that the men who consider themselves the kings, not even kingmakers, cannot understand how this woman, they don't know, without a pedigree, they don't know where she's come from, has taken over Meru. And I have worked in Meru. All of you know about Meru. The country, Kenya, is very patriarchal, but Meru takes number one. And because of that, they do not understand how a woman can take over the helm of leadership in Meru County. How the hell can a woman lead in Meru County? And not only that, she's leading people with the proven intellectual capacities, professors with Harvard degrees. And yet we don't know where this one, what degree she has, is probably questionable to them. So that is the primary problem in Meru County. It is not about incompetence.
When you say Meru is patriarchal, aren't you being unfair to the voters of Meru?
I have actually said from the get-go that Kenya is patriarchal, and I have no apologies for saying that, because it is a fact that Kenya is patriarchal, but Meru takes number one. Not because it is a bad county, but because of the cultural... they are one of the communities that have still adhered to their very strong cultural standards. Even in my community, we used to have those strong cultural standards and systems, but most of them are dying. Meru has the Njuricheke system, for instance, of leadership. And I remember at one point, the American ambassador, who was a woman, wanted to go and appear before the Njuricheke, and they said, hell no, you are a woman. So even if I became the president of Kenya, I would not appear before the Njuricheke. It's just the rule. It's just what it is. So it's not being unfair on Meru, it's just what it is. It's the reality.
It's unfair on the voters of Meru, who, men and women, have voted for this woman not once, but twice.
Yes.
Once as a woman representative.
Yes.
And the second time as their governor.
Overwhelmingly, actually.
That's why she got very many votes.
But that is why.
Would you be saying, with your assertion this morning, that she is unpopular among the men of Meru?
She's unpopular among the men who have stuck with their cultural views.
Are they a majority or minority?
They are a minority. But they are a very strong minority. They are an educated minority, they are an elite minority, they are a resourced minority.
Are you also saying they're an influential minority?
Yes, they are an influential minority.
Because what you're then saying is that despite the fact that all these people in Meru County voted for Governor Kawira Mwangaza, that there seems to be some kind of influence that will lean heavily on the members of the county assembly to say, find fault 1, 2, 3, 4, up until 7, and that it is rooted primarily in this gender issue, and that these issues could not be true.
Most of it, as actually was proven in Senate, most of it is not true. There were areas where I could tell governor, improve here. But most of those things are actually really embedded in gender bias and discrimination. Unfortunately, gender bias and discrimination
most of the counts before the Senate?
Yes. They are rooted in gender bias and discrimination.
For example?
I will give you an example, but first of all, I want to explain to you what gender bias and discrimination is.
Please do.
Gender bias and discrimination is like the wind. It's like a hurricane. I cannot hold it and bring it to you, but you will see its effect. And that's what is happening in Meru County. So I cannot hold the gender bias and bring it to you. But we will see its effect.
How is it demonstrated? This
How is this demonstrated?
Yes.
Is in its effect. And the effect is that somebody will not stand. The fact that I'm sitting here or I'm standing before them as a woman, supposedly as a leader, and it just, doesn't sit well with them.
They cannot countenance it.
No, they can't countenance it. It does not sit well with them. How the hell can a woman stand before us as a leader? And because of that, they will find fault in every single thing she does. If she appoints somebody, no, you should have done it this way. I'll give you an example. If you look at the impeachable offenses that have been brought about her, they would be used for virtually every governor and every member of parliament and every other officer. Like, for instance, she's told she's practiced nepotism by hiring a security that is her relative. Number one, when did a governor hire police officers unless she has a private force and a private training unit? But secondly, security is a very personal thing. Even I have my relative as my security, so I should also be impeached. And virtually almost every member of parliament and every state officer. Why? Because, and especially for those of us as women, because of the kind of attacks that we got through. Secondly, a PA, the same thing. Because of the nature of our life. The other day you saw, when you were saying you saw me at Governor Kawira's place celebrating. It was 1:30 a.m. Yeah? If I have to wake up, and I've told you now my committee is meeting the whole day, and even then my committee was meeting. I remember meeting one of the members of parliament, and they told me, Millie, you managed to wake up.
Umelala kweli?
They said, did you really manage to wake up? I have a myriad of things that I'm going on even in my constituency right now. And sometimes it will require somebody walking into your bedroom to do work or help or pick the work that they need to do with you urgently. Who else do I need other than somebody very close to me to be a PA? So I have find no fault in her having a PA that is close to her or a security that is close to her. And you find a lot of leaders do the same thing by the very nature of our work. Except because she's a woman, we have to find fault. We have to create reasons. And as I've told you, unfortunately, gender you only see in its effect a lot of times. It is rare that I'll come, even though if you see what some of the things that were being presented in evidence, like what my good friend Honorable Mpuri was doing, really, that one is not even in effect, it's direct. How can you impute that you can actually facilitate sex to enable a woman in her 50s to have a child? Really. And I want to thank the Senate for taking action and speaking against such things.
Do you think without the video that was played, or without the words that had been uttered by Mpuri earlier in those rallies, if Mpuri was not involved in this, if he hadn't said anything about Kawira Mwangaza at any meeting, publicly or privately, anywhere, and it hadn't come to the floor of the Senate as evidence, do you think the Senate should have been swayed?
They may have, and I'm being very honest here, because impeachment is not only a legal process, it is actually almost 80% a political process. And because it's a political process, you cannot, for instance, wish away the fact that you have a senator in Senate who may not be very friendly to Kawira Mwangaza. That you have people, as I've told you, they are very influential people who also have friends within Senate. This is a woman member of parliament before. The only thing, our only rise to fame is being a women rep. None of us knew her. But all these influential Meru people, even I know all of them. So she's fighting a war that I'm even amazed that God has enabled her to get that far. Even I, Emilio Diambo, with my strength, I don't know if I would have managed to stand against that strong wave, that political wave. And then, of course, we also know that sometimes the influence is right up to the top, even the presidency. This is a woman rep who came in as an independent candidate. She's coming yet again as an independent candidate for a gubernatorial seat. And she has outsmarted the strong wave of KK in Meru. Hell, it's no longer just it's no longer about Meru. It goes way right
She's
up.
outsmarted those patriarchal people that you're talking about.
Yes.
If they were not able
goes
to
right
influence
up to
the community at that point,
yes,
how are they able to influence now? If they were unable to influence a vote against her,
we are talking about
in August last year.
We are talking about quantity and quality.
Right.
At the grassroots, she's influencing the ordinary people. At the Senate, you are talking of a lot of factors, some of which I may not want to talk about here. But when you have a smaller group of people, other dynamics set in. It's about who you know. It's about how you talk to them. And in Kenya, how you talk to people is very heavily coded.
Yes.
I don't want to get to that because I don't want to impute improper motive on senators. But I don't know whether they may be influenced with money, for instance. I don't know. But you are talking about one woman against very influential and resourced individuals at the county and outside. So what chance would she stand? But at the ground level, even if you watch the videos, she has the masses.
Okay.
Through her Baito, is it called Baito TV? Through her own, grassroots influence, through her church, or Kolea. So she's just found a beautiful, grassroots-oriented way of reaching to her people. And the men don't understand it because they want a person who will wear a suit and go and speak recipsa loquita, jurisprudential language, and wow people with education and being learned. But this is just an ordinary woman. She reminds me of a woman I met recently in Malawi. It was just an ordinary woman who's come from, struggle, self-educated herself, and flawed the son of the former president, Honorable Banda. She's very similar to that lady. Very, very called Grace. Very similar. There are people who come from no backgrounds to unseat. Actually, if you ask me this, what I'd call she has unseated dynasty. Yes. The Meru dynasty. Yes.
There's accusations of playing the gender card every time we get an opportunity to do so, and saying that, well, it's easy to do that. And if it was flipped today, and it happens to be that the same counts that were brought against a male governor, would we say, well, it's because he's a man?
Actually, the statement you've said is actually used as a scarecrow against us when we have gender dynamics. It's meant to threaten us not to use the gender card when there is actually a gender card at play. Yeah. And I've actually told you gender is like the wind. I cannot bring it. It is not in black, yellow, and orange. It is not in, a physical form that I can tell you or you can hold, yeah? But you feel its effect. Why didn't we come through the first time that she was being impeached? Because we actually trusted that maybe there are genuine issues. But then we followed up these allegations and we sat down with her, some of us, and we got to understand what is going on in Meru. And having understood what's going on in Meru, for a fact, it's a gender issue, primarily a gender issue. And even after she has been let free by the Senate, there's somebody who was writing very happily, we are back in 3 months. Yes. Because the Constitution allows it. And that just tells you what it is. And if you even look at the campaign and what the Mpuris of this world were saying, it's very gendered. Part of the issues they don't like is the fact that she's named a road after her husband. How many roads are named after male spouses, the leaders of male spouses?
Actually, Mheshimiwa, I would look at it differently.
Yes.
How many roads are actually named after women who have made significant contributions to their country?
Hardly any.
Precisely. So,
exactly.
So there is a clear case of gender bias.
Well, that's a gender bias. It's in both ways. First, there are no roads named after women who made significant contributions.
Yes.
But however, we also have situations where men lift their wives or their spouses, including girlfriends, in various ways. Give them offices. We even have the office of the first lady, second lady. You have the office of the daughter of the president. courtesy of a male president. But this lady has a supportive male spouse.
Okay.
She's better than a lot of us who are forced to put our husbands behind.
It doesn't. Fine.
Yeah.
Let's say Murega Baisho merits all that.
Yes.
And a road named after him.
Yes.
What's the process?
What's the process?
Yes.
Well,
of getting a road named after somebody who has contributed so much to our community. Is there a process?
There is no process. And we need to come up with a bill called the road naming bill. So because yes,
there is a process
in the county assembly that has to be discussed.
Yes, yes.
The county assembly of Nairobi,
which
for
is
example,
the law? You can
discussed.
update me.
No,
maybe I don't know the county law.
I do not know the specific law.
Yes,
but I do know we've raised this issue.
Yes,
when one Secretary General of Kotu had a road named after him. Yes, and there was a big hoo-ha. And we raised the questions you are raising, and we asked the county officials, tell us why how did you arrive at this? And they went in some ordinances that are actually colonial and gave explanations as to how it is that a process which has to go through the assembly has to be undertaken.
Thank goodness that you've said it's actually colonial, so I'm not actually aware of them, even as a lawyer. So because of that, I would actually urge that we bring a more modern law that actually speaks to how we can go through that process.
Yes.
But that aside, what I'm saying is what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Because what you cannot then use a measuring rod against her that is harsher than the one we use against men. If, for instance, a male named the Kotu Secretary General, why was there no impeachment on that basis? Why use it on a woman? And that's why I'm telling you, gender is like the wind. You feel the effect. So you will bring non-issues like the fact that she's named the husband. Just go and pluck it out and name something else. Just go and put it...
But it's indicative of something. I mean, we cannot distance from this much more. It's indicative of something. It's indicative of, even if it wasn't Murega Baisho, let's pick somebody else.
Yes.
But you as governor, you've come in and today you've decided, you know what, this person was very good, very instrumental in my campaign, so I'm naming this road after them. Surely, you understand the entire principles of public participation, of consultation. That tells you something about that person.
No, it just tells you.
And we cannot throw in a gender card here.
No, you will have to
it's
draw.
It's about the character of this person as a leader.
The gender card.
Integrity and what's expected of a leader.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's an integrity
issue. If it
issue.
was, whether we remove Kawira Mwangaza, bring in any other. Let's talk about Peter Munya or Kiraitu Murungi, who've been governors. If they did that, would it be right?
Would it be an issue?
Would it be an issue? For me, not. I don't care whether people are named roads, whatever. It does not add value to anybody. But because the roads happen to be public good, it will be good to have, one, public participation and involve the public. So I agree with you to that extent. Is that impeachable? I don't think so. We must be serious about what we consider an impeachable offense. I think for me, an impeachable offense would be something, and I would want to say that for sure, we have a problem in our constitution because it talks in very broad terms about what is impeachable. So within the law, we need to bring a bill on impeachment because right now we have a section that talks about impeachment in the County Government Act. But we need a law on impeachment that should actually put the threshold a little higher. So, this is a person that has been elected by thousands of people.
Indeed.
Yeah? So bad manners alone should not constitute impeachable offenses. There should be a threshold of what is impeachable.
The threshold of time has come in. It was suggested, the Council of Governors sat and talked about some of these things and, bringing forth an idea whereby somebody comes into an administration for 5 years, obviously after election, and you say, look, for the first year, let this person do what they're supposed to do. This is a suggestion. I would like to hear what you think about that. And then going into the last 2 years of the administration, please allow this person to finish and continue, or rather continue and then wrap up with the work that they've been doing. So you're granted 2 years within which you decide you want to impeach this person. That's when you bring it about. but more or less allow this person to do their job, going away from the every 3 months kind of thing.
Like the recall fraud clause.
Yes. So I would actually agree with them that it's not about allowing them to do their work, but actually even understanding how things operate. I do understand that because even exercising my oversight role in the constituency, when I first got in, I think in the first year, I was just in a muddle. Things were going on. I have no clue what's going on. Before you understand it, it's the public that is telling you, Mheshimiwa, there's something going on wrong here and here. And if I was a governor, I would already be being impeached over things I have no clue about. Let them understand how the county works. Let them understand how they need to operate the county. But basically what we are having in the first year of Kawira Mwangaza is she's being hounded out of office because some people lost. Really just accept and let people do their work. She's being hounded out of office.
Mheshimiwa, I want to ask you a question. You're a fierce fighter for many things.
Yes.
But you are going around a certain issue.
Which one?
This is on the issue of, is there a likelihood of being talked to, having taken some financial route in the manner in which senators were thinking and voting? It's a story in the paper today, which is alleging that there were some cabinet secretaries who had offered some money, that there were some governors who later offered some money, and then there were some
phone calls,
women leaders who met with a senior political figure who's the head of a political party, and that political leader then called some senators and asserted some influence. I know you are one of the women who was very vocal and active on this. First, so let me start with the easier question. Were you among the women who called a senior political figure and told them, please, talk to our members?
Well, I didn't talk to any senior political figure. But yes, I did speak to some senators because I know that this is also partly political. So I talked to them and I told them, when this matter comes before you, please don't look at the political issues. Look at the legal issues and look at the gender issue. Okay. Yes, I did. I don't run away from that.
Issue of money?
Well, the issue of money I can't prove because I don't know whether somebody was given money. But I just wanted to ask you a question. Are you from Eritrea or Mas?
No, I'm not new to Jerusalem.
Yeah, this is Kenya. So you are asking
a Kenyan question.
Yeah, yes. This is a very Kenyan question. Are you asking whether I'm Millie Odhiambo or not?
As a fighter,
there are questions you don't ask as Kenyan.
That's why now I was saying Millie Odhiambo is somebody who does not dither, who does not prevaricate.
Yes, so that's why I'm telling you. That is why I'm telling you I have no proof of any money given. But was there money given? Possibility extremely high. Because it does happen a lot of times.
Should this be an issue of concern?
Definitely. It's an issue of concern. That's why we put it in Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
What should we do about it? It's not the first time that this comes up.
What we should do about it is have political goodwill at the highest top. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. But if you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we'll continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen. Remember a member of parliament who came out one time, I remember it was on the screen, and he's taking tea and declaring very publicly that, we take 5,000 shillings, Yeah. And he was actually later prosecuted, and he's gone very mute after that, yeah. And that tells you that actually prosecution works. But other than that, a lot of what he was saying is largely true, that money changes hands. That is a fact. That when you are passing legislation, when the stakes are high, money does change hands. Yes. So I don't know about Senate whether it did.
This time round?
Did change hands. But I wouldn't be shocked if it did change hands, because it does a lot of times.
Okay. Yes. We will come to the end of the hour. Unfortunately, because of those whole issues about the road and all, we only had half an hour with you. But please, as you go and have your committee sittings in the Budget and Appropriations Committee discussing about the supplementary budget, we'd like to have a conversation with you about the supplementary budget and budget.
That is fine.
Because surely, anyway. I'm Lyoto.